Good evening, everybody. Good evening. I'm here to witness. Hello, Carl David. Welcome. Good evening to you. Hello, Lindy. Good evening. Welcome. Welcome, everybody, to another live session right here on Learn with Austin. My name remains Austin Okoye. I am your teacher. Yeah. Good evening, Umar Muhammad. Welcome. Alex, we can help by sharing the invites to those ones you know would need these classes. Even before the class, you can inform them either by word of mouth, and then when it's time, we can share the invitation to them so that they can join in. Welcome once again, everybody. We are having maths today, and we are going to be treating the topic change of subject of formula. 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 All right, so let's go straight into what we have for today. I actually like this subject then. Celestino says, oh, so what happened now? What is happening now? I hope you still like it. Anyway, you will like it. Maths, I keep saying maths is actually easy. Maths is easy. Infinity, good evening to you. Alima, my day was great. Thank you. I was a maths teacher and I appreciate students a lot. Wow, okay. Oluwalex, great. Great, good to know. Good to know. Lola, good evening. Good evening to you. Welcome. All right, so we're going straight into what we have for today. Change of subject of formula. Change of subject of formula. Change of subject of formula. First of all, let's define the terms we have here. Change of subject of formula. Let's understand what this is about, first of all. Good, Joseph, great. Okay. So let's start with the word formula. What is a formula? What are formula? What is a formula? So a formula is basically an equation that contains variables, that contains letters, and these letters represent variables. Let me write. So a formula So first one is a formula. What is a formula? So a formula is a mathematical equation that consists of letters. Which represent quantities or values, which represent quantities of values. So now this is what a formula is. A formula is a mathematical equation that consists of letters which represent values. An example of a formula is a common one, the formula of area of a rectangle. Area of a rectangle, area equals length times width. So this is an example of what a formula looks like. A formula is an equation. Now when we were talking about, when we started algebra, I defined these terms for us. What's an equation? This is what an equation looks like, having the equal to between. That's where equation, alright, equal to. So this is equal to this. This is the same as this. So a formula is an equation, and it consists of letters. Now these letters represent values. These letters represent quantities. They represent certain numbers. My camera, Alima, is the camera not properly set? Shiade Design, good evening. Welcome, sir. Is the camera better now? Yes, okay. It's okay now, okay. So a formula is a mathematical equation that consists of letters which represent values. IDK, I'm great. Welcome to tonight's live. Umaru. Okay. So it's a mathematical equation, just like this. This is an equation, and it consists of letters. And each of the formula is basically a guide that helps you in the direction or the way, shows you the way to solve a particular math problem. All right. So we have different formulas. Formula for simple interest, formula for speed, formula for okay, welcome, great, welcome. So formula for this and formula for that, all right, different formulas. All these formulas are meant to show you as thank you for the roses, thank you, welcome. They are meant to serve as guides, all right. They are meant to serve to show you, to help you solve particular certain mathematical problems. So that's their function. That's what the formula is. Now let's go on. So subject of formula. Now we've talked about formula. So now we're looking at subject of formula. Subject of formula. So what is the subject of the formula? It's simple. In this case, the subject of the formula here is this A. What is the subject of the formula? Bob, I'm great. Thank you. Welcome. I am great. Thank you. So the subject of a formula, let me write. The subject of a formula subject now refers to a variable. This refers to a variable that is being worked out by the formula. So subject of the formula, what is it? It refers to a variable that is a letter, all right, or any other symbol that is being worked out by the formula. In other words, in a simple explanation. Okay, Dina. Okay. Now, in simple explanation of all this, what this formula is about, that is the subject of the formula. So this formula, L times W, it is meant to calculate A. A represents the area of a rectangle. So it is about this. So what the formula is about, that is what we call the subject of the formula, just like the title, all right? What the formula is about, what the formula is meant to calculate, all right? That is the subject of the formula. And in this case, A here is the subject of the formula. No, subject of formulas are usually written separate on their own on one side of the equation. On one side, just like you can see, A alone is on this side of the equation. So this is A equals L times W. That is, for you to get the area of a rectangle, you have to use this formula. You have to say length times width. Hello, Smiggle. Welcome. Welcome. Thank you, Divine. Divine AO. Thank you for the rose. All right. So this A here is the subject of this formula. That is what the formula L times W is about. Subject of the formula refers to a variable, a letter, that is being worked out by the formula. What we are trying to work out with that formula, that is what we call the subject of the formula. Now we go on. So the topic says change of subject of formula. Change of subject of formula. So the change the subject of the formula means we want to rearrange this formula. We want to rearrange this one. We want to transform it in a way that we are going to make another variable now to become the subject of the formula. That's what we are trying to do. When it comes to change of subject of formula, we are transforming a formula, or we are rearranging a formula in order to make another variable different from the other subject. Another variable now becomes the subject of that formula. So that's what change of subject of formula is about. Good evening, Miss Faith. Welcome. How are you doing today? So, subject of formula refers to a variable that is being worked out by the formula. All right? So, by changing the subject, of a formula, we are rearranging or transforming the formula. Why? For what purpose? In order to make another variable the subject. So that's what change of subject of formula is about. It's about the transformation of a formula. Hello, Winer. Welcome. Good evening to you from here. It's about transformation of a formula in order to make another variable in that formula, another letter, to become the subject, or will I say the head now, of that formula. What is the formula about? So now we're going to take some examples. We'll go straight into working out. All right. Can I wipe this off now? Can I clean this? By changing the subject of quickly, please. By changing the subject of the formula, we are rearranging or transforming the formula in order to make another variable the subject. Yeah, Mercy. Okay. Hello, Bob. Welcome. Halima, are you done? Now let's take some examples. Good evening, Adewumi. Beauty. Okay, let me. So examples. Number one. Now when it comes to change of subject of formula, a lot of what we've learned so far, will come into application. Let's see how it works. So example number one. It says P. Okay, let's start with this one. Let's use this formula. In the formula, A equals L times W, comma. Make L the subject of the formula. The subject of formula. So in the formula, A equals L times W. Make L the subject of the formula. Great teacher. Thank you. Good evening, Omalara. Welcome. Now that's the question. So how do we go about solving this? How do we go about solving this? Solution. So our formula says A equals L times W. Now, this formula is about area. If we solve this, if we use this method, and if we use what we have here, it's going to give us the area of a rectangle. But in cases now, why exactly do we need to change subject of formula? So there are sometimes now, let's say a math question. Usually the math question will ask you, find the area of a rectangle if the length is 10 centimeter and the width is 5 centimeter. So what you're going to do now, I'm looking for the area. I'll say area equals 10 centimeter times 5 centimeter, because the cell length is 10 centimeter and the width is 5 centimeter. Now my area will be 10 centimeter times 5 centimeter which will give me 50 centimeters squared. That's my area. But then there are some other questions that will not ask you for area. Rather, the question will give you area. The question, you have area. So they'll say, find the length of a rectangle whose area, find the length of a rectangle whose area is 50 centimeters square, whose area is 50 centimeters square, and length is 10 centimeters. So find the width now, okay, find the width of a rectangle whose area is 50 centimeters square and length is 10 centimeters. This is the question. In this case, for this formula, what we are looking for is A, alright? L times W will give you A. But in this case, we are not looking for A. We are not solving for A. What we are solving for now is W, the width. So we have A already in this question, and we have L already given to us also. In this case, you want to apply change of Sylvester formula because what we need now is W. So we need a formula to solve for our width. We need a formula to solve for our width. So how do we change this formula? Now look at this question. So it says in the formula A equals L times W, make L the subject of the formula. So we've written out our question. The next thing we want to ask ourselves now is how do we make L the subject of the formula? Making anything the subject of the formula, the main goal or the target is to make that thing alone on one side of the equation. The target is to make that letter alone on its own on one side of the equation, either the left or the right, but usually the left side. Usually the left side, alright? The left side, that is most preferable. But it can be on both sides, the same thing. If I say A equals L times W, and I say L times W equals A, these two are the same thing. What it's telling me here is that area of rectangle equals length times width. And here it's saying that length times width equals area of rectangle. So they are the same thing. A is on the left hand side here, A alone is on the right hand side. In both equations, in both cases, A is still our subject of the formula. So whether you have it on the left or on the right is the same thing, but most preferably, usually, we have it on the left hand side, okay? But what you must know is that it has to be alone, alright? It has to be alone on whatever side you choose it to be, either the left hand side or the right hand side. So in this case, we want our L to be alone because we want to make L the subject of the formula. But what we have here, we see L and W, L times W, please. L times W. Yes, please, let's like up the live and share. L times W is what we have here, and we have A here. So we need just L on this side of the equation. Now, how do we go about doing that? How do we go about doing that? Now, I have talked about inverse operations or reverse operations. Inverse operations or reverse operations. In algebra, I told us that if you have A plus 5 equals 10, and you want to solve for the value of A, that plus 5 will go there. That was what I told you. Plus 5 will go there. What is actually happening is that for you to solve things like this, you will take the inverse operation of what you have. I need the value of A, so I need to deal with this plus. What I'm going to do is that I will subtract 5 from both sides. I will subtract 5. What I have here is plus 5. If what I have is minus 5, what I will do is that I will add 5 to both sides. When I do that, what will happen? If I add 5 here and I add 5 here, this minus 5 plus 5 will cancel out each other. Because minus 5 plus 5 equals 0. Okay, so that is actually what happens. But for purpose of simple explanation and understanding, we just tell you that when you move your minus 5 over there, it becomes plus 5. The sign changes. What exactly happens is this. You are going to take the reverse or inverse operation of whatever it is you want to deal with. We're trying to deal with now, maybe plus 5. You will do the inverse operation of plus, which is what? Minus. So I'm going to take minus 5 from both sides, so that my minus 5 now can eliminate this plus 5 here. So plus 5 minus 5 equals 0, it's gone. So I have my 10 minus 5, A equals 10 minus 5 each side. Now coming to this side, what we have here is A equals L times W. So I have L times W, and I want to deal with this W because I want only L on this side. I want only L on this side. I want L alone. What am I going to do? I will have to take the inverse operation of my multiplication. And what is the inverse operation of multiplication? The inverse operation of multiplication is division. Example, if I say 2 times 3 equals 6, for me to come back to this, I will say 6 divided by 3 will give me 2. The same way, the inverse operation of division is multiplication. If I say 6 divided by 2 will give me 3, for me to come back, I will say 3 times 2 will give me 6. The same way, the inverse operation of addition is subtraction. 5 minus 2 will give me 3. So the inverse now, or the reverse, 3 plus 2 will give me 5. Likewise, when it is plus, it will give me 7. 7 minus 2 will give me 5. So the reverse or the inverse operation of addition is subtraction. Of subtraction is addition. Of multiplication is division. And of division is multiplication. Now you look at the operation you are having. What we are having here is times. And what is the reverse operation of times, of multiplication? It is division. So what we do is to divide both sides. Remember, I said also using a scale for purpose of understanding. I used a scale. I showed us a scale. I said whenever, maybe you have something like this now. Maybe you have something like this, like a scale. And there is balance, all right? So there's something here, and there is balance. Hello, Aisha, welcome. Welcome. So this is what you have, right? And then there is balance, okay? Now if you add anything to this side, this place becomes heavier. It becomes heavier, then what happens? It will go down. Then this other one goes up. So balance is lost. Now what if you had put it this other side? The same thing will happen. This side becomes heavier, and then it goes the other way, tilts the other way. So if the rule of equation says whenever you add something to one side, for the purpose of balance, for that equation to remain as it is, all right, you must do the same thing the other side. So if I'm adding plus 2 here, I must add plus 2 here. If I'm multiplying here, I must multiply there, all right? So if I am dividing here by my W, I have to divide also by W on this side. Now this is what we have. So my W here will cancel this W, and my L now is alone, it's free. And so L equals what? A over W, goal achieved. And so we've solved it. Now we've made L the subject of the formula. Now what we have is that L equals A over W. That is our answer. Julie Love, thank you. So do we understand this? Do we understand this? Can we move on to another? Yes, please. Okay, great. Good. All right, great, okay. Now let me get another question. So question 2 says, sure, that's great, okay. Question 2 says, okay, y equals 2x plus 2a. Okay. So make x Make x the subject of the formula. Y equals 2x plus a. Make x the subject of the formula y equals 2x plus a. Oh, Shiade, okay, not exactly. Okay, let's continue. Probably you understand with the next one. So, y equals 2x plus a. Make x the subject of the formula. Alright, so solution now. So the equation says y equals 2x plus a. First off, what do we want to make the subject as the subject of the formula? X. X. Making x the subject of the formula means having x alone on its side, alright? Having x alone on its side. So you want to look through your expression. What do we have here? We have y, we have 2x, and we have a. So this is the only place where we have x, alright? So the first thing we want to do is to have this alone first of all. Then deal with any other thing that is there. So what do we have here? We have plus a. Plus a. So what are we going to do? We want to move a to the other side. In other words, we are going to subtract a from both sides. So we are going to move a now to this side. Alright? So if a plus a comes here, what happens? It becomes minus a. So we're going to have y. We're going to have y minus a equals 2x. So we've been able to deal with this a. We've been able to move plus a over, and now you have minus a on this side. So we have y minus a equals 2x. We're not done because what we want to make the subject of the formula now is x. But what we are having here is 2x. So we still have something to deal with, which is what? The 2. We need to deal with these 2. Now, what is the relationship? What is connecting 2 and x? Let me ask us. What is connecting these 2 and this x? What is holding them together? What operation? Is it addition? Is it subtraction? Is it multiplication? Or is it division? What operation is holding the 2 and the x together? Debbie Joy said nothing. No, what operation? Is it addition? Is it subtraction? Is it multiplication? Or is it division? Muhyiddin said multiplication. Debbie Joy said addition. Please, info say addition. Aisha say multiplication. Multiplication, addition, division, multiplication, addition, division, addition, multi, not understanding Alima. Ishmael says multiplication. Adewumi say addition, division. Okay. I said something during the time of algebra, when we're dealing with algebra. I said anytime you see, for example, 2x. 2x means 2 times x. 2x means 2 times x. So what is holding them together is actually multiplication. 2x means 2 times x. But if you have x over 2 means x divided by 2. So in this case, there is division. But you see in this, it is actually multiplication. It is multiplication. So what is holding 2 and x here is multiplication. Thank you, Joyce Collections. All right. So in case you see a question that says solve the expression 3a plus b. Solve the expression 3a plus b. Thank you for the roses. Thank you very much. God bless. So when they say solve the expression 3a plus b, when a is 5 and b is 3. When a is 5 and b is 3, solve this expression 3a plus b. When a is 5 and b is 3. This is substitution here. So you have to replace, where you see a, you put in your 5, and when you see b, you put in your 3. Alright? So 3a here means what? 3 times a. So what is holding the 3 and the a together is the operation is multiplication. So it's going to be 3 times a. And our a is what? 5. So that's 3 times 5. Or let me just put 3 bracket 5, which is the same thing as 3 times 5. So plus our b, which is 3. Now what is 3 times 5? 3 times 5 is 15 plus 3. Now what's 15 plus 3? 15 plus 3 is 18. So this thing here has been solved. Our answer is what? 18. So note, 2x is the same as 2 times x. 3y, 3 times y. 2b, 2 times b. 5a, 5 times b. So come back here. 2x here actually means 2 times x. Now, if the operation holding our 2 and x together here is multiplication, so what operation are we going to carry out now? As the reverse operation, so that we can deal with the 2. What are we going to do here? Okay, good, noted. So what are we going to do here so that we can make x alone? For us to deal with these 2, what operation are we going to carry out? Ishmael says division, good. And then we mean division. IDK division. Okay, now we are following, good. It's division. I said for us to eliminate, deal with anything, what you will do, God bless you too, thank you. What you will do is to carry out the reverse operation. So in this case, since we have multiplication, what we will do is to take the reverse operation, which is what? Division. So we are going to divide by 2. It's just like dividing both sides by the coefficient of the variable, which is what we're trying to, the same thing here. Divide both sides. Exactly. Divide both sides by the coefficient of x. Exactly. Yes, we are following. So we're going to have dividing both sides by 2 now, we're going to have y minus a all over 2 equals 2x all over 2. This is what we have. Then what's the next thing? Good evening, Mommy Heavy. Welcome. Debbie Joy. So now 2 will cancel 2. And finally, our x is free. And so now x is the subject of this formula. X equals y minus a all over 2. C'est fini. So this is the same thing as saying x equals x. It's the same thing as saying x equals y minus a all over 2. That's our answer. You're great. Thank you. Bob, thank you. Is that SpongeBob now? Thank you. X equals y minus a all over 2. That's the answer to that. Any question? Share the design. If you're watching, I hope you understand now. Thank you, Abib. Thank you. Abib Oli Ide. Thank you for the donuts. Thank you. Do we understand this now?